Good morning, everybody. It's Shanda Sumpter with Coffee with Shanda. I've got my macchiato this morning, which I drink most mornings, and instead of coffee to keep my nervous system in check. Anyway, I wanted to do an Ask Me Anything session. I've been doing a lot of interviews lately. I've been we've been doing spiritual work, we've been doing mindset work, we've been doing business strategy, and so I thought I would open up the social media lives to just be able to answer questions this morning. So if you have a business question that you want me to answer, or you have a personal question, I'm an open book. You can ask me any question about my personal life, about my business life, about how I run our teams at Heartcore Business, anything that's going to help you get ahead, how I'm a mom and still able to run my business, really anything. I'm just here to serve. So for the next 20 minutes, I will just answer your questions. So go ahead and type in the thread, just ask me the question and I'll answer it. If you're new to my stream, my name is Shanda Sumpter. I have a company called Heartcore Business, and we've been in business now going on 7 years. We do multiple seven figures a year by helping entrepreneurs to build their businesses virtually. There's a big shift coming in the economy right now, and that big shift really requires you to own your audience and become a really strong influencer in a short period of time over the next couple of years. So I'm just doing Coffees with Shanda to help people and help people get ahead. It's a good way to tap into me for free. I do it every Monday through Friday. Follow the page. If you're on Instagram, tag another entrepreneur or a really awesome business owner and let them know that we do this Monday through Friday. And if you're on Facebook, make sure you follow the page and share it. If you share it, I really get to know who you are. And I really appreciate just the generosity and the giving. All right, you guys, let's answer some questions. Suzanne, you asked when did your turning point happen in your business? Was it you or someone or something external? Oh, that's a great question. So Susan, my turning point happened in my business when I got okay with the worst case scenario. I prayed a lot. I studied spiritual context and scripture. Actually, I didn't study scripture. I went to church. But I can honestly say that it wasn't this crazy miracle that happened other than God worked his magic on me and I shifted. And so I got okay with the worst case scenario. There's something that happens when we let that pressure off our shoulders, right? Like if you think about when you go throughout the day and you're striving, you're chasing, you're trying to get ahead, that desperate energy, it repels. I mean, there's someone I know right now in my community that has a desperate energy. It repels, right? It repels men, it repels business, it repels, you can push your way forward and you might get ahead, but it is a lot of work, right? It repels. So I had to get myself out of the desperate energy. And the way that I did it is I actually thought, what's my worst case scenario? And for me, it was actually moving back to Canada and moving in with my mom, which was like a nightmare to me. But it was the worst case scenario. And when I was like, okay, well, I'm not dead. And then my mind started thinking, well, what could I do at that moment? Well, I could rebuild, right? And not have to pay any overhead to live. And I just started to enroll myself into the fact that that wouldn't be such a bad thing if it happened. So, but I never gave up my commitment that I was going to grow my business, right? So my commitment was, yes, of course I'm going to do this. The conversation was, am I good enough? Am I strong enough? How do I do it? And so when I unhooked from the chasing and the desperate mentality, what happened is things just started to come together. And they came together quickly. They came together inside of, I'm not even kidding you, my first $5,000 was 3 days later. So to give you an idea. So I made $5,000 in a day. It's crazy. It's crazy for me at that time because that was rich for me if I made it in a month. Jamie, you're always transparent that I don't have any questions. I love that. I'm glad I'm transparent enough that you don't have any questions. You guys on Instagram, if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask. Let me see. Oh, what book are you reading right now that you would recommend to your listeners? I don't know if I'd recommend it to my listeners, but I love it. And the reason why I disclose it like that is our listeners typically are running their own businesses, or they have a desire to create a side business or a retirement business. And so I'm reading Wim Hof. I don't know if you know Wim Hof. You can look him up. I think it's HOF or HOFF. And Wim is WIM, I think. I'm a little bit dyslexic, so I sometimes don't say people's names right or things like that. In fact, if I do butcher your name, please don't, be flexible enough in your mind that it's not personal. And I'm sorry. People butcher my name all the time. You got bigger problems if that upsets you. So Wim Hof, he is basically he does this breathing exercises in cold training. The reason why I like his work is it raises your pH balance in your body. They've done a lot of studies where a lot of healings happen in your body, and I'm not looking for a healing per se, but I love the idea of having my pH balance really high. I also love the idea that I can control my body, which really allows me to connect to my mind and how powerful my mind is. So for mental strength, I love the idea of, well, first of all, I don't love the idea of getting in cold showers and 51-degree cold plunges, but we're actually going to put a cold plunge at our new house that we're building because there's so many health benefits to cold training along with Wim Hof's breathing. So you should look him up. He's really cool. Lisa, good morning. What are good first steps? I plan to launch a group coaching program in January. So Lisa, you've already done this because you're a client of ours, but the first step is for launching your group program is obviously build your email list, right? Which you're doing. Never, ever, ever stop building your email list. You're going to thank me when, 3 years from now, 4 years from now, when you're the biggest in your industry with your email list, how many people want to play with you, right? Not to mention how much money you make. So position yourself as an influencer to your micro community, because as my Facebook pages grow, my Instagram page is still pretty small. It's like 10,006. But on Facebook, not everybody sees my lives or even sees my posts because the bigger it grows. And everybody who's an influencer knows that. So we love to know what your email list size is because that tells us a lot about your business. It also tells us a lot about who you are as a business owner. So first and foremost, remember that. As far as your question on your group, I don't know where you're having the challenge or what part of the plan you're looking to simplify, Lisa, but I'm assuming you have your content. If you don't, then you want to ask yourself, what is the number one focus of the group? So people launch groups and they're esoteric. They don't really have an anchor on where people are going. People don't like to pay for things, or I'm going to say clients on a mission. Customers on a mission, right? If you want raving fans, like Lululemon has raving fans, right? Maria Shriver has raving fans. You want raving fans. And raving fans, all that means is that they are ready now, right? They're not kind of trying things on. So you need a program that has a really strong anchor. And the anchor is where people are wanting to get to. It's the destination. So make sure that that's clear. Make sure that you don't have 3 or 4, 1 or 2 max, and have that anchor of where you're going. So I'm trying to kind of fill in the blanks of your question. Give yourself 90 days to sell it. I recommend 2 months of pre-selling and a month of selling once you start. Typically, people can catch up with recordings if you're doing 1 a week, if it's up to 4 weeks. If it's anything after that, it starts to get really hard for people to catch up. You don't want people to fall too far behind. So did I answer your question, Lisa? If there's anything more specific about the plan to launch the group, then let me know. If you want leverage, first of all, group is one level of leverage. As we grow Heartcore, it helps to, teach one to many. It's great on the bank account internally, but it's great on your energy internally. But what it requires to do it well is building out a team, right? So we have a team inside of Heartcore. We have at any given time, 15 coaches that work on our staff. And then we're growing that right now. So we'll be looking at more like 30 coaches, 35 coaches working on our staff here soon. When I say soon, I mean by the end of the year. And so you have to just make sure that if you're going into leverage, like on a group, that your next stage of thinking is team, right? So the first stage is making sure that you're figuring out your messaging. And that's when you work with individual buyers. And then for you as a media coach. And then the next level is the group, which leverages you. But when you have group, then you move into the next level, which is expansion of team. Hope that helps. Wendy McKenna. I know you say time problems and resistance is related to intimacy problems. Yes. What does that mean? Okay. So when you have a time problem in your business, so you're moving too fast. Well, what happens with time is when we're busy, we never have to sit still. And when we sit still, that's when all of the emotional stuff, that's how what we're really feeling starts to come out, right? And so, first of all, in order for you to get ahead of your business or to get ahead of problems, which often when we have no time, we have lots of problems, right, is actually the conversation of you need to sit still to be able to come up with a great idea. So many of you guys know that Jesse Itzler is someone that trains our clients in endurance challenges to help them work with their mindset and their physical body to be able to really be able to become unstoppable, to live a better life. And he actually carves out 3 hours a day for just him time so that he does not resent his 4 children, his wife, his business, whatever that looks like, right? So he carves out 3 hours a day, and that's a non-negotiable for him. I carve out about 2.5 hours a day. And there's always people who want to get into it, right? Like, my team knows they're not allowed to message me after 4 o'clock, so they don't. They send it all into Slack. But my clients know that as well. But there's still people there's still meetings. There's still really important meetings. Like there's a really important meeting that's trying to get on my books right now to ambassador our products into multiple different markets. Now they'll go to somebody else, but the micromanager, the controller in me that wants to get it right, wants to take that meeting. Well, then what happens is I get too busy, right? So if I keep taking those meetings, and fill in the blanks, right? You keep working after hours. That's all a self-disciplinary thing that you've got to pull yourself back from. Because if I can't sit for a few hours a day, like yesterday I laid on my bed for 30 minutes and I listened to music. And I listened to Christian music just to bring in the energy of God. And I watched 2 bugs play together. And I was like, wow, I've never seen 2 bugs dance together and play. I didn't even know bugs played. Like, I'm convinced bugs play now. And it was like a really beautiful moment. But I'm doing that to connect with God. But the ripple effect of that is you'll see that there's a common thread with very successful people, that they have space in their life, right? So now here's the thing. I remember learning this and being taught this, and I couldn't create it. And I couldn't figure out how they all created it. Because I was running in a desperate state. So there's a level of faith once you realize that the best ideas come when you're out for a run and there's no cell phone, no music, or you're sitting by yourself and you're just doing. So even if you're meditating and you're trying to meditate to get somewhere, that's a breakdown, right? So you just need fun space in your life to be able to come up with ideas. My husband and I went with his friends to a lake a few months ago. He had to turn off his phone and his computer. We were just there for a day and a half at the lake, and he had all these ideas driving home. So did I. I mean, almost the entire drive home was excited, like exhilarated conversations of these ideas, right? And so what I do in that moment to help people is I create a voice memo and I shoot it off to someone on my team to get it done, right? What I used to do when I had no team is I'd get online and I'd go on my calendar and I'd future schedule out those ideas so I didn't feel like I had to do them all right now for the sake of staying out of the desperate energy. Does that help? Awesome. Okay. Carrie, hi, beautiful. I'm struggling with my online shop. What can help me attract customers quickly? Send me a instant message, a private message, and I can connect you with one of our business coaches that can help you with that. You really want to build an audience, right? In fact, you can do. We did a webinar last week There's nothing to buy on the webinar, but it actually talks through the audience building, and that's a really great thing for you to watch. So if you instant message me, I can connect you with a coach. I can also connect you with that web training. You just got to build an audience. The world of just putting things up on a website and waiting for them to sell is just non-existent. It actually always has been non-existent, but there's been some bad advice out there where people, actually, I'm just going to say this, not even bad advice. There's way too many people trying to build their businesses on their own with their own intellect, and that's not their space, right? Like their space is the product, or their space is, their space isn't necessarily the marketing piece that creates the opportunity for sales, right? So the first thing that I recognized is that when I was studying is that I was obsessed with marketing, and you should get obsessed with marketing because it's like such an exciting space. But there's people who have been obsessed with marketing before you that can actually give you some hacks in the system to get traffic to your website, okay, or to your online store. Questions? Hey, you guys on Instagram. Claire, when you experience being stuck in fear and uncertainty, being afraid of stepping into your full potential, what have you done to get your faith, to get yourself back in faith, so that you can continue? A part of scripture, which was gold. So you want a part of scripture? Worry is a sin. That one just like really stuck out to me. Worry is a sin, and when we won't make a decision, it's because we're worried about something, worried about making the right decision, worried about it not working out, right? So when we procrastinate, it's because, perfectionism is hanging out with procrastination. They're sisters, like they're twin sisters, and they go everywhere together. Think about it like that. So when you're procrastinating, there's some level of perfectionism, which actually comes from fear. Right? So just so you know, I have a mantra inside my company, and it's called good enough. It's good enough. 70% is good enough. I had to adopt that mentality. If I did not adopt that mentality, I would be overlooking every ounce of my staff's work, and they would never become empowered enough to make decisions and be good enough and move things forward. So would I do many things differently inside my company? Absolutely. I'm the visionary. You're the visionary. Right? And when you're the visionary, you have a very specific way that you want things done. But if you can't let go of control, well, I'm sorry to tell you, you're stuck. You're stuck. You're always going to have time issues, and you're always going to have intimacy issues, and worry is going to riddle your life. So worry is a sin, and I hold on to that. Next, I'm good with uncertainty now. I've made friends with uncertainty. So I know I'm never going to get away from uncertainty. And anytime I do something I've never done before, which happens multiple times a year, there is tons of uncertainty. In fact, there's an area in my business right now that I'm actually coming to the end of uncertainty because I've been studying it for the last year and a half. And now I actually know it and I can lead it. So a lot of times people want to automate their entire business to someone who doesn't even know them. And somehow you expect them to automate yourself to financial freedom and never work again. Your come from is coming from the wrong place, right? You've got to get good with uncertainty. You've got to continue to figure out the marketing. You either have to hire somebody in your company that you make a partner that is what's called an integrator. There's a book called Rocket Fuel. It is a great book. If anybody reads Rocket Fuel, you'll realize most of you guys watching me right now are probably visionaries. And you really want an integrator, and an integrator who can take your stuff and make it happen. However, the marriage of that is you have to be okay with 70%, right? So there's uncertainty everywhere. On a daily basis, I'm uncertain. Like we just upped our Facebook marketing, and I was like, here, spend this, right? Spend this number. And the vision I have is a stupid amount of ad spend to be able to make a ridiculous dream come true where I can impact millions of people, because I actually think, here's a little rant here, not really a rant, but when you can help someone, I think staying stuck is like a self-fulfilling prophecy of laziness. Hear me out here. Like, I know what's happening to them in the market right now. And it's not a bad thing. I know because I'm studying. I'm also in rooms with people who like are billionaires. And when I say that, and I'm not just talking Jesse Itzler, I'm talking Peter Diamandis, I'm talking just some really smart people. And our money is going to a digital currency right now. In fact, I'm about to invest in it. We're about to start putting some of our programs on a platform that we get a digital currency. I'm going to move my dollars into a digital currency. And that digital I'm going to be paid in digital currency. People might pay cash into it, but I'm going to be paid in digital currency. I'm going to play that ride up because we are going to a digital currency. Whether you think that's a risky investment or not, that's irrelevant. We are going to a digital currency in our lifetime, in my lifetime, right? So I'm just getting on now, right? When there's a 3,000% return on your money, or that's insane numbers, right? So I just know that, it's where we're going. It's where we have to be going. It's been happening for a long time, but now it's here. I know that my son will never drive a car, right? He might never own a car. It might not make sense for him to own a car because self-driving cars are already here, right? And so I know that within the next 8 years that we're looking at anywhere between 30 and 45 or 50% unemployment rate in the middle class. 8 years. I won't even be 50 yet, right? And so, these things are happening right now. People are buying real estate through the internet, right? People are buying cars through the internet and then going and picking them up at a dealership where they're being delivered to their house. My groceries are purchased on the internet. Amazon bought Whole Foods, right? Internet. Everything's happening to the internet. Our businesses are going virtual. So I know this space really well. I've been in it for a long time. I know it really well. And I also have an incredible network. And I'm building one of the benefits of being in our community as a client and a member is we are building a community that helps each other. And when people get bitchy and like non-giving, honestly, we just ask them to leave. We tell them that there's probably a better coach for them. That's what the words look like out of my mouth is, I think there's a better coach for you. And I invite them to leave because we have a network. Your network is your net worth. And we have an internet business, which has some live components to it, but it is just the way it's going. So now let's go back to the space of being stuck as a convenient way to be lazy or not responsible. You are responsible for the thing that you uniquely do really well. Whether it's putting clothes on a man's body so he feels like a powerhouse, or a woman's body so that she feels, empowered and sexy and feminine, or whether it's a spiritual thing that you do to connect people to their hearts or to connect them with God if you're a spiritual counselor. I don't know what everybody does, but what I do know is that you have a responsibility. Now, I do know that not everybody feels that calling. You just want to take care of yourself. This is the conversation of I just want to automate my entire life and never work again. That is called a fucking pipe dream. And it's a pipe dream. Okay, we have somebody coming to our clients mastermind after the zone event, which we're doing funnels. I'm actually giving my clients my funnels in that mastermind. And then we're bringing our traffic team that, by the way, have got these automated systems going where they make millions and millions of dollars. And what it took was over a decade to create them. Okay, so this world of anyway. So I feel compelled because of all these people that are going to be out of a job. I just would feel like an asshole if I didn't spend the money and really build my audience and reach those people. Even the people in corporate America who are executives right now, I want to help them. Even if they don't think they're entrepreneurs, I want to help them actually just create a retirement business on the side. I want to let them know that this data is out there because they're smart enough when they see the data to look up and say, you know what, I need to start preparing now. That's why they're executives here now. And I want to help those people be fueled because they're smart influencers. If they're in a company and they're an executive, they're a smart influencer. And I can put a platform underneath them over the next 2 to 5 years so that, because people are losing their jobs now. If you haven't noticed, my Porsche dealership closed down, people are losing jobs now. Big companies are consolidating now. It's happening, but it's happening in a very silent way behind the scenes. And unless you know somebody who's been affected, you probably don't really realize that this is happening. Anyway, I feel compelled. So when someone says, let's spend $60,000 or $100,000 or $200,000 or $500,000 on ad marketing a month, I'm like, let's do it. And there's tons of uncertainty in that. There's tons, right? But it's a compelling movement, and you'll never create a movement unless you can get yourself to move, right? So I just welcome you to question the thoughts that you're having. These thoughts of, this is too hard, or I want to automate everything, or getting stuck in procrastination and perfectionism, because now's the time to light the fire underneath your ass, because you're either going to be left behind or you're going to be positioned perfectly. And that has everything to do with your audience size. Everything. You can learn everything through having an audience. You can learn your messaging. You can learn everything. But get your audience off social media. It's great to be on social media. There's tons of that. We make tons of money on social media. Instagram, swipe up. There's lots of great things that we do on social media. But make sure that you don't listen to influencers who are just talking about that and not realize that the ones that are crushing it have big email lists. They have big email lists, okay? And so anyway, I will stop on that. So question your conversations. Make sure that if you're having a selfish conversation or a conveniently lazy conversation, that you ask yourself, what am I really afraid of here? And if you can get good with the worst case scenario, I'm going to tell you, you'll be able to unleash yourself. So not only will you be okay because you will take care of more people, but you'll be able to move yourself out of the way so that you can do the risky things to be able to grow quicker. All right, you guys, I hope this was helpful. And it is Thursday, so I will see you Friday for 6 a.m. Coffee with Shanda, and then we'll go off for the weekend, and I'll see you the following Monday. So I will talk to you soon. Bye.